All right, officially. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Monday Morning Motivation.
Hi.
And as we always love to say,
Congratulations for not making excuses and for being here at 8 a.m. on a Monday, whether you're at work, as I'm guessing Sarah is from her background, or whether you're going to work, whether you are still at home, whether you're having breakfast, doesn't matter. If you're interested in learning something new and hanging out with a pretty cool group of people, thank you for making the time and thank you for being here. Today, we're going to talk about values.
exactly.
Very excited.
I think most of you are already in the Monday Morning Motivation group, so you already know us. Maria and I are trainers, as you know, and we do this for free. So if you love what we're doing, feel free to donate. You can scan the QR code, and we give 50% to the 1 Million Tree Project, which helps to grow trees. They plant trees
in Inner Mongolia.
In Inner Mongolia, yes. So we've already donated a few hundreds of trees by now. If you missed the webinar, just scan the QR code. We have all the recordings for you, no problem. And beyond this,
book. There's always a fantastic book plug in every the webinar that we do. Okay, I have a book on my shoulder. In case you don't know about this, me and Janine, we created this book. It's a workbook that is full of, yes, that's our picture. It's a workbook that is full of quotes, gratitude journaling, reflection, and goal setting prompts. It's a very useful book to use every day if you want to get more motivation or if you want to spend some time reflecting on what you're doing. And it's a great gift. So we have it in English, in bilingual. We have the printed version like this, or we have the ebook. You can find everything in the QR code in the little flyer.
And I want to say thanks to Kieran, who is here in our group,
yes.
Because Kieran gave, I think he bought 30 books for Christmas, and he gave it to everybody. Not everybody. His company that he works for is a lot bigger, but he gave 30 books to his colleagues. The HR department, boss, what's CEO, right? And a lot of others. So thank you for that, Kira.
Thank you for the support.
Oh, it's a pleasure. They all loved it.
Oh, we're happy to hear that. And yeah, people and companies use it too. And so we're very happy. We're going to be printing more probably very soon.
Exactly. And yes, guys, good news. We're 2 years old on May 23rd. So we're going to have another nice party here in Shanghai. We keep you posted. Probably the same place as you can see here in the middle picture. Just stay tuned and we'll keep you posted.
We'll do it in the same place because if you look very closely, I am not in that picture because I was not in China.
No, you were in the picture via phone virtually.
Right. Well, fine. Okay. So we're doing it again at the same place this year in Shanghai because I'm here and I actually get to hang out at my own party, which it's kind of nice. So we'll keep you posted. Again, if you're not in the WeChat group, do message us and we'll share all the details very soon about where that's happening and how is it going to work. It's going to be very, very, very fun.
All right, enough talking now. Let's go to the main topic of today, living your values. And we're going to start with why values. As you know, Maria and I, we often like to go back to the basics. Because if you're not into self-development, I mean, we as coaches and trainers, we work on that. But in normal life, if no one taught me about values, what are values, why is it important, I would have never analyzed anything related to this. So let me give you a few reasons about why knowing your values is so important. Here, for everybody who's not a native speaker, a short summary. Basically, what you need to know is values are guiding principles. And the guiding principles, the values, they really give you a foundation that you can make the best possible decisions for you. Because your values are individual. Like, we had a German lady, or here we have another German lady, Alessandra. Yes, she is German. I'm German. But it doesn't mean that we have the same values only because we come from the same country. And now imagine Maria, she's Italian originally, although I would say we're both global citizens, but again, she has completely different values. And then, so it doesn't have to do anything with, only your culture, but your individual values are different. Your friends' values may be different. Maybe a few are similar. We also mentioned earlier in the former talk, even if your friends' values are a bit different, you can still be friends, unless it's like the values the complete contrary. Let me give you an example. So in order for us to make good decisions in life or in work, like for what company do you want to work for? Or for what kind of manager? Very often the reason why people actually quit their job is because of different values and discrepancies with their manager. And the reason why some friendships sometimes break can also be related to values. And I actually did this really interesting experience myself. So, well, I'm a coach, so I thought I should normally know, right? But I was like hanging out with this very interesting woman here in Shanghai 2 years ago. And I thought, wow, we're like soulmates. We're like so similar. And the more we got to know each other, the more I actually realized, and at that time I had a boyfriend and I had a few issues. And what do ladies do? We like to discuss about it, right? So I was talking to her about it. And then like I realized that her approach of treating a man, her approach of dating, of being in a relationship is so different from what I actually do or how I behave, how I make a decision. And again, I'm not judging, I'm not pointing finger and saying, oh, you're right, you're wrong, I'm right. No, values are individual. But what I realized at this point is she actually, because I was a little bit low on self-esteem for a few weeks at that time, and I realized that she's a great person. I respect her and value her a lot. But her values are not my values. We're actually not soulmates, but very different. And that was a great experience. And why is that? Guys, you got to keep in mind that your values can be easily influenced and changed throughout, like depending on the people you surround yourself with. We often like to use psychological personality tests like the MBTI, and psychologists always say, no, you are like, you stay this kind of personality type, even if through education you develop. But your values can change so fast, depending on the people you surround yourself with. So this is why ask yourself and analyze what are your values and what kind of people do you want to surround yourself with? What kind of company do you want to work for? Where you see, oh yeah, our values are aligned, because then you will have an even better time working for this company. Okay, which now brings us to the next topic. So values and beliefs can also guide your specific purpose in life. And now I would like to quickly talk about corporate values before Maria moves on with your own individual values. So as I mentioned, if you know your own values, you can make a better decision on what company do you want to work for. So let me share a few core values with you. We all know Alibaba. Everybody talks about Alibaba all the time. I was very lucky. I was able to give speeches in Alibaba already 3 times. And I would like to share their values. We all know Alibaba, but do you actually know their core values? And they also try to hire employees according to it. But a big organization like Alibaba cannot only hire according to values, right? But have a look, and I have 3 company examples where you can see how individual and different the values can be of a person or of a company. So Alibaba says value number 1 is customers first, employees second, shareholders third. The next value is, and I will come back to that specific value in a second. Value number 2 is trust makes everything simple. Next one, change is the only constant. And I think Alibaba is definitely a very good example for change, for especially like fast transformation and change. Then number 4, today's best performance is tomorrow's baseline. because we always try to improve and become better and better, right? I also like number 5. If not now, when? If not me, who? Which is like really into action taking and taking ownership. And last but not least, value number 6 for Alibaba: live seriously, work happily. Well, I guess the work-life balance is still a bit tricky for Alibaba, of what I hear from friends who work at Alibaba, but maybe that's also personal choice, so I don't know. But again, guys, we're not judging. Just try, do you relate with it or not? This could be one decision-making factor of why you want to work for Alibaba, or if Alibaba is the right company, or maybe Tencent or Huawei or anybody else. Which now brings me to values are individual. And this is the reason why I know my own values. And here you can actually see my personal values that I created into the company. So my company, Full Potential Partners, for example, has the first value is employees first. And as you could see, Alibaba said customers first and then employees second. But I said my employees come first because we spend so much time at workplace. That is what I actually thought. And I have decided for my company, I want my employees to be well. Last week, one of my employees, she got sick. She's still in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, and I didn't know, well, I knew she had a fever. I didn't know if it is COVID-19 or not, but it doesn't even matter. I said, no mercy, stop, just stop working. Nothing is super, super urgent. It can wait a few more days. Take care of yourself first. I can take care of a few, maybe the urgent things, and you just rest. Because if she doesn't rest well, then she's going to be sick even longer. And then she cannot deliver the same kind of value, as you can see here. Deliver wow through service, which I actually took from the next company because it's so important to me. But she cannot, my employees cannot give the same great, outstanding, wowing service to our clients if they are not well. And as you know, you take your problems at workplace. Whatever happens with your husband, wife, or friends in private life, you take it to work. And it influences how you deliver your work. But again, we're not judging. It's just about realizing what is right for you, what is right for your company. And here, can you see number 4? I wrote, build open, fair, and honest relationships with proactive communication. Here, let me tell you why I wrote fair in here. As I mentioned, so I had this, my first part-time job in Shanghai when I finished my studies and was about to open my company. I was actually working with a lady from a wellness brand. And what I realized in a way with her managing me as an employee, I was frustrated at one point, even a little bit aggressive. And then I asked myself, Janine, why are you behaving like this? Or why do I have these thoughts in my head driving me crazy? What was the answer? I realized I felt treated unfairly in this point. And here's the good learning. I mean, I only collaborated with her or worked for her in part-time for 3 months. And even this bad experience was a great learning for me because I learned I don't want to be this kind of manager. And I learned, wow, fairness, that is so important to me as a person. And yes, it should also be important in the company that I'm building up. So also the bad examples can be really good examples because you get to know yourself better. Last but not least, company example, Zappos, one of my role models, and a lot of entrepreneurs, managers of businesses, they all have read Delivering Happiness, the book about this company. And this company actually delivered shoes and accessories in the US. And one reason of why they got bought by Amazon for, let me tell you, a very big amount of money is actually, so this acquisition was also because they have very strong values. And Zappos is one of the key role models in the world on how hiring your employees according to values, how living the values in everyday work life, in your business culture, how it's all integrated. So, for example, here you can see deliver wow through service. Yes, I took it from them. I'm honest.
Took inspiration.
Inspiration, yes. Actually, a lot of people took it from them, a lot of companies. But they try not only to live wow in everyday business, but they also try to hire these employees who want to wow people even beyond their work hours in everyday life, in the supermarket. They work with employees who try to embrace these values, or maybe they are already a few normal values that the individual person has, and they also live it in their everyday life beyond work, for example. And here, number 3, create fun and a little weirdness. How do they do it? Oh my gosh, it's so cool. I can't wait to go to Las Vegas again and visit a company. But hey, if they decide today we're celebrating Oktoberfest, or today we're gonna have a Mexican festival in the office, then people dress up, they organize everything, and while they're doing their best for their clients and they deliver the service, they will have some fun and a little bit of weirdness in their work life during the day. And maybe they will not wear normal like business outfits today, but maybe they wear some German traditional clothes for Oktoberfest, or a Mexican outfit, or a Chinese qipao because that's something they're celebrating, or because they feel like it today. This is one way of how they embrace the value and integrate it in their business culture and in everyday work life. So I wanted to give you a little bit of inspiration with these examples, also personal examples. And now I'm going to hand it over to Maria.
And the cat just jumped. So
yes.
That's okay. All right. So Janine shared exactly, we started why our value is important, and we got a really good overview of different companies and Janine's own example with her company of how to share what is important for you in a company setting. And now we would like to take it a little bit. Yeah, Sprinkles is a very good value. She's a very valuable cat. We wanted to talk a little bit about personal values. Okay, it's a discussion that maybe, as we mentioned in the 7 a.m. call, not everybody just does every morning. Like we, as people who work in the self-development, coaching, and training industry, we get to talk about this maybe more often than people who don't work in our same industry. But it's still not a conversation that you might have with others or with yourself often. So we would like to offer this space today for you guys to think a little bit more about your values, to figure them out maybe, and to have a discussion about how are those important to you. That's what I want to do. There we go. So first, you gotta try and understand what are your values, okay? And again, maybe some people already have a very clear idea of what their values are, because maybe they thought already about it, maybe because they founded a company and they already brought them down, or because that's something really, really important to you and you have that very clear in your head. But if you haven't done that, that's okay. If you don't know where to start, this is a good starting place. So if you're not sure exactly what your values are, think about the good and the bad things that happened to you, for example, in the last week, in the last month. What made you feel good? Yeah. What made you feel bad? What made you feel useful? What did other people do that you really admire, that you feel very inspired? Or what did other people do that you really disliked or that made you feel uncomfortable? Now, it's not 100%, only because of values, but as I was mentioning in the 7 a.m., Sarah yesterday talked about why intuition is so important. And sometimes we feel that some people do things and we don't really feel super comfortable about it. We don't know really why. That could be because that behavior or that idea clashes with our values, but we don't think about it consciously. If someone is doing something, we're like, oh no, that just makes me feel uncomfortable. It might be because that person has different values from you and you really do not want to either talk to that person, cooperate with that person, or just don't want to see that behavior. So on the positive side, of course, you might see someone doing something that you really admire or that makes you feel extremely good. That might be because the value that that person or that situation is based on is very similar to yours. So take a couple of minutes, think about what are your values. Now, we could be here all day talking about 1,000 values. So for brevity's sake, if you guys want to share maybe what are your top 3 values, you can either unmute yourself or you can type in the chat. It's okay if you can't figure those out. You can do this in your own time, but it will be really, really interesting to hear from people. If you have identified a few of your core values, what are those? And then we're going to use that to go through another part of the exercise.
Yes, so use the chat group to write it in there if you like.
If I can find the chat, it's complicated, not my computer.
Or you can even like unmute yourself
Yeah.
if you want to share it now.
So Youngster says, build connection with others. Okay, that's connection. That's an incredibly important value. Anna says, respect others. Okay, all right, so connection, respect. Nicole says, authenticity, collaborative and respectful. Sarah says, kindness, empathy, and connection. Fantastic. For me personally, my big 3 values are integrity, honesty, and trust. Those are the things that I always come back to. Of course, you can definitely add more depending on the situations, but usually people have a few core values and then you can add more depending on the situation. Mm-hmm. Kieran says, simple living and high thinking. There you go. So if you have not thought about it, today might be a good opportunity to start your week with some, reflection on that. That's okay, Kira, no worries. Typing is perfectly fine. Thank you for sharing. And again, you might not have done this in a long time. Not everybody just wakes up and start thinking about values.
Hey, let's define our values at 6 o'clock in the morning.
I mean, we do, but that's a different discussion. But sometimes reminding even yourself of your values can be a really interesting experience, to analyze what is happening. And we'll see how we can use those in practice. So once you identify your values, and for example, you might struggle to find exactly what the word is for your value. It's a very long list. We'll send it later in the WeChat groups. But this is one example of a few of the options of values that there are. You don't have to have all of these. Of course, there's a lot. But the idea is that this list can help you pinpoint the language, like understand exactly what you might feel works better for you. Okay. And if it's not in this list, you can make it up. It doesn't have to be any of these. The important thing is that it resonates with you. Oh, hi, Rajni. Yeah, for Rajni, for example, extremely important value is family.
Oh, I think we all could have guessed it knowing Rajni. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's great.
Absolutely. So important things, you know what is important to you, right? You may not think about it consciously every single minute, but you know what is important to you. So once you have an idea, like once you have a few values, what I think finds a lot of, let me say that again. What I think is really valuable, just that's why I was trying to think of another word and I couldn't. What does that mean to you? For example, if you take a word from the other list, for example, love, okay? Love can be an extremely important value for a lot of people. Although not everybody means the same thing when they think of love. Could be romantic love, could be family love, could be friends love, could be love for the earth, could be love for humanity.
For cats.
Love for cats. I think she's going around somewhere. So love means a lot of things for a lot of people. And maybe to you it means all of these things. Maybe to you it means something different. So defining what you actually mean by that value is extremely important. For example, for me, integrity means acting and thinking according to what I believe and not compromising those beliefs. This might not be what the dictionary says integrity means. It doesn't matter. That's important to me. And finding out exactly what you mean, why are those important to you, and what specifically that means. It's so important to actually use those values in your day-to-day lives, because many people, I think we talked about this in the 7 a.m. call, values can feel something that's really high up, like faith and family and hope and love. And those are very, very abstract concepts. So once we bring them down and we give them what we think, what we believe is their definition, that can really help us to use them in our daily lives. And how do we use them? Well, before I gave an example of like understanding, for example, what you've already been through, to see that in the lens of is how does that show what my values are? Okay, but you can do this in the future as well. So for example, once you have identified what your values are, and once you have a definition, which means this value means this to me, then you can use those in many different ways. One of the very useful ways to deliver that value action is using them when you're facing a challenge. For example, we all are facing challenges every day. There might be what outfit to wear, what coffee to drink, or what company to work for, or what to do in a personal situation with a friend, or in our relationships. We all face challenges every day, small or big. And if you're struggling to make a decision or to find a way out of that challenge, one way that you can think about it is to evaluate your choices and your actions according to which one aligns with your value. For example, if someone proposes a project to me at work, and I somehow feel that it's interesting, I will hear it out. But if I don't feel that it aligns with my value, I will be really honest and say, I think that's a fantastic project. I don't think I'm a good fit for it. It doesn't fit with what I'm focusing on at the moment, and I make my decision according to how that value declines into my life. So, for example, if I don't think that that is a purposeful project for me to do, then I might not take it. That is one way that your values can help. If you need to decide, how to react to a friend, or what to do with your job, if you want to take a job or leave a job, those are all things that you can apply your values to. I think that, going back to what Sarah was saying yesterday, I think that we do this unconsciously a lot of the time. We just don't think about it, purposefully. Like, oh, what value am I acting on right now? We don't. But if you make the effort to consciously think about it, that might give you a little clarity and make it a little bit easier to make a decision. Because sometimes we just say, this doesn't feel right. And analyzing and seeing why that doesn't feel right. Because maybe you're walking into a situation that really clashes with your values, and acknowledging that, it's actually liberating. It's like, I'm not weird. I don't want to do something that clashes with my values. That was Sprinkles making a clock fall to the floor, and that clashes with the floor. That is very fun. Anyway, so to wrap it up, so that we can have a little time for you guys to share whatever you want to share about values, think about it in this way. So if you're facing a challenge, what are the options you have? How those options align with your values? And if you understand which option feels better according to your value, then what is your next step? So that is just one of the ways that you can use your values in your daily life. And I would like now, I can make this PPT work, I would like now to open the floor for you guys to share anything that you found interesting about this value discussion. How are you going to live your values from today? If you thought that finding your values was easy, it was hard, what are those? Anything you want to share, or any questions you might have for us? If Sprinkles doesn't.
Hey, good morning, ladies. Sebastian from Australia.
Hi, Sebastian.
Hi, Sebastian.
Can you see my lovely garden? It's not mine. I'm actually at a community center. Can you see the lovely green and flowers in the back?
Well, we can see your finger on a camera. That's what we can see at the moment. So you might want to change that.
Oh, okay. Oh.
What's your sharing or questions, Sebastian?
Okay, now it's better. Now we can.
I have two questions.
Yes.
Sad to say, though, some people regard them to be old-fashioned, but they are still age-old values. And that is, number one, honesty is the best policy. Number two, you do unto others what you want others to do unto you, which is from the Bible. So, yeah, those two principles, among others, are what I try to live by.
Thanks for sharing.
Along similar lines as well. By the way, thank you, ladies, for sharing this morning.
Thank you for being here. We're
Thanks
happy.
for always being
And
with
I can see half of a garden behind your hand, so I'm sure it's lovely. And have a great day in Australia.
Yes, I think Nicole raised her hand. Nicole, feel free to unmute yourself if you like.
Hi, ladies.
Hi. Good morning.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that I really liked the question that you pose, like what's causing me joy, what's because sometimes I think about, oh, what are the things I really care about? But I never thought about even kind of going reverse engineering it by like more in a reflecting mode to then actually create a list. So that was really helpful for me. So I actually screenshot it because there's a conversation I'm constantly having. And sometimes people can't necessarily identify a list, but I'm sure based on the questions that you pose, anyone can answer that. So I thought that was really helpful. So I just wanted to tell you thank you, and that I'll be using it as well.
Absolutely. You're welcome. And like, you know, when you talk about values, it can be also at really frightening conversations because it's something that, you know, it's so core to us. And it's something that, you know, you don't just wake up in the morning and decide, you know, I'm going to talk about my core values and my very important, you know, extremely personal things to everybody, right? So it can be scary for people.
Yolanda,
Yes.
former call, she also shared and she said that or basically we spoke about sharing our values with our friends and family members.
Right.
And the interesting thing is we normally don't really do this. So how would you actually know that this person values this or that? Because nobody shares or speaks about their values. But if maybe I told my friend Maria, look, like Maria now said, okay, she values integrity and honesty and trust. Well, now I know about it. Now I, as her colleague, now I, as her friend, can actually be an even better colleague or friend and choose my way of speaking or communication and my actions according to her values, so that we don't have miscommunication and we don't have any like we have less pitfalls basically. But so maybe you want to even share this with your close ones,
right? And it doesn't have to be like a conversation like, okay, now we'll talk about values. Like Yolanda before in the 7 a.m. call, she was asking, you know, what if people act in a way that shows their value, but I'm not sure what it means, right? And people usually will act according to what they think is important to them, whether they know it or not. That everybody makes the best choices that they can with what they have. And so explaining sometimes why you're making some choices or why you have particular behaviors to people that you care, not to literally everybody, because that would be complicated. But if someone asks, or if you want to share with someone who's important to you why you're making that decision, why you're taking that action, it's because so and so and so value is important to me. You know, I'm choosing to spend more time with my family this weekend because my family is very important, so I can't come to whatever event you have. It doesn't translate into value, like family value is very important to me, but you're still expressing what is your priority, what is your valuable choice for that time. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's a good idea to do, but also to listen when people say that so that you can understand what is valuable for them.
Yeah, Tats was sharing in the group. I'll try to actively listen to the people who surround me with the purpose of really understanding them so I can relate to them in a better and healthy way. Thank you for sharing.
That's a great sentence. Well done. And I think that like everybody communicates all the time. I think that sometimes we don't realize how much people are telling us. Yeah. And so like viewing that from a value perspective really helpful to, as Taz mentioned, to improve relationships, right? If you really listen to what people say and do, you can get a better insight on why they do it, and you will get a better understanding of what kind of people they are, and you can decide for yourself if you want to spend more or less time with them.
And also, guys, if you ever need help in analyzing your values, there's also a few very good online tools. I'm sure, like one of them, like that I got trained with in Suzhou, like you just pay a tiny little fee, but it's a really good one. If anybody needs it, just reach out in the WeChat group. Sarah, you're next.
Yeah, thank you, ladies. That was a fantastic presentation, and I also really love the questions that you ladies gave, because those are things that I would do journaling myself as well as use in coaching with clients. And I just want to say from my personal experience, because this really resonates with me, the values. That's one of the reasons actually that I am leaving my teaching job in this school, is because I have felt so unaligned, because the values of the school really don't align with my own personal values. And I found too, in coaching, when you get really clear on what your values are, that's beautiful, because then you can really attract and bring in your soulmate clients who are, resonating on that same level, so that you can really, and I feel that when you're really tuned into each other, then you can really truly better help that person. So.
Well said. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And guys, values can change over time because we go through different life phases in our life where we as people also change, and that's
Absolutely.
totally okay. And that's why, for example, there's the midlife crisis in the 30s. Maybe this is a time when you definitely should reflect on yourself again. What are your values? Who are you, for example?
Absolutely.
Self-awareness. This is very core.
Amina says having values helps one, and surrounding people make life easy and happy. Absolutely. And as we said before, if we didn't mention it now, we mentioned it in the 7 a.m. call, is that values are things that are important to you. So there's no right or wrong values. There's no way that you can say that someone is living by the wrong values, because those values are important to them. You might not agree with that, and that's okay. You can have your own opinion. You might think that they are not aligned with yours, but there's no right or wrong values. The actions that people take according to values, they might be wrong from a moral perspective, from a legal perspective, or from just things that you don't want them to do. But it means that it comes from what they think is important. And if that doesn't work for you, it's okay. That is an indicator of that you might not want to be associated with that friend, with that colleague, with that boss anymore. That is another reason why values is so important, because if you can choose, then you will want to choose people who have similar values, not exactly the same, as Janine was mentioned, right? You can still be friends with people who have different values, as long as they don't, completely clash with each other, because that would definitely make it harder. Not impossible, but harder.
Yeah. And in the meanwhile, while you're thinking about any further sharings or questions, you can see a really cool calendar here from our partner, the Motivate community. Nearly every day they have different nice evening events where you can learn about neuro-linguistic programming. Maria and I both got certified as this, Sarah as well. They have like every Sunday evening a great speaker as well. Because sometimes people say, oh, why do you only do morning things? Here, our partner, Motivate community, also has great evening events.
So that's what Sarah yesterday shared about igniting intuition, and I know that Rajni is in the group, and Rajni will speak next week about, I can't see it. Oh yes, it's unlock your potential with NLP.
Yes.
So it's going to be fantastic. It's on Sunday evening.
Great topic. And beyond that, Maria,
I'm so excited.
Our next speaker next Monday is John.
So this is the lineup that we have for April, and we're going to share the lineup for May really, really soon. But I'm super excited to be hosting John on Monday, because we're going to talk about how to unfuck yourself and get shit done, which is probably the best title in all the MMM career so far. So if you guys want to tune in, same time, Monday at 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. If you are not in the WeChat group, I think most of you are just by reading the names. But if you are not, please do scan the QR code in there. That's my code. I will bring you in. We will share everything about our upcoming events, the online webinars that we have every Monday, the MMM 2-year anniversary party that's happening in Shanghai really soon. And we're going to share all the details with you, and all the other things. We all share that in the WeChat group.
Yes, we'll do more on LinkedIn, Facebook as well, step by step. Yes.
John, want to say something about next week? I know you're there, but I don't know if you can speak.
Hold on. Yeah, I am here, guys. I am here. Thank you for having me next week. We'll be talking about how to be nice to yourself and how to get up and get shit done. Get out of your situation and get shit done. So stay tuned. See you next week. And here, if you want to see my view, I'm there.
There you go.
You did not make excuses and you still joined. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Yes. Okay, guys, that's it for today. We all hope you have a fantastic Monday, a great start in a new week. Be inspired, motivated, get out there, take action, take the opportunities, and also analyze your values, maybe share it. with
Right.
other people and see your experience.
Exactly.
Maybe
Maybe
it can benefit you.
maybe today is the day where you took a little time and you thought about your values, and maybe you need more time to think about it, and that's okay. But maybe today has inspired you to think a little bit more about the values and to share them with people you love and people you surround yourself with, and so maybe you can have a better connection.
Yeah, as Rajni just said, I love this session. Time to talk about family moral values once again, and an excellent reminder for family time for me.
There you go.
Yeah, well done. Great
Fantastic.
analysis. Okay,
There's-
Sprinkles.
There's a
the
cat.
cats-
There's a cat meowing. I'm sure she wants something. For Sarah's entertainment. There you go. Sprinkles here.
Exactly.
She is very cute.
Guys, have a good Monday. Take care.
You too, Carol.
Take care, guys. See you soon.
You too, ladies. Bye-bye.
Bye, Bing.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Happy Monday.
That's the bell of the school.